Welcome back to the Interval, a musical theatre podcast. This week we're doing something a little different. We're doing something called mini musicals, which you will have seen from, the title of this episode. Essentially, what it is we are talking about two different musicals today. Tyler is talking about one, and I'm talking about the other. They're both musicals the other has not seen, but we haven't shown each other it yet. It's purely a passion project. Okay, Tyler, take it away, man. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the Next to Normal proshot, which has arrived and blessed us all.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very excited to see it. The community has gone mad for this proshot.
Rightfully so. Full spoilers ahead. Next to Normal is all about a woman called Diana Goodman. She is a mother and she suffers with bipolar disorder, and the show is all about the ways in which her mental health impacts her and the rest of her family. This includes her husband Dan, her daughter Natalie, and her son Gabe. But big twist. About half an hour into Next Normal, we discover that her son, Gabe, is not actually there. He died when he was a baby 17 years ago, and the version of Gabe we've been seeing has been entirely in her head. There's a bit of debate about exactly what Gabe is amongst the community. Like, is he a ghost? Is he just a representation of her trauma and her grief, and the grief that's sort of shared between them, and how it impacts all of them, including Natalie, because she's very, very overshadowed by her brother that she's never known. That's it, really. It's just about the way that it's just about the trauma this family have gone through and how they navigate it and the events surrounding it. And it's really difficult to watch, but it's my favourite piece of art in the entire world. I adore it. I think every song is outstanding, and the West End cast are perfect. It took 15 years to come to the UK after it was originated on Broadway back in 2008, and it was very much worth waiting for.
15 years is still blowing my mind. That's how long it took.
The next note we have is, what do you think about it? I think it's quite clear what I think about it.
I think it's alright.
It's okay.
As far as I'm aware, Tyler will take it or leave it.
Yeah. No, this is... It's my favourite thing. It's my favourite thing ever. It's my favourite musical. Absolutely. I love it so much. I saw it live in September. I got a tattoo related to it in November.
You saw it on the final matinee, didn't you?
I did.
Which is such a stroke of luck on that one.
I did. Funny coincidence. I'm also seeing another production that Mr. Jack Wolf is in currently at the final matinee. So maybe that's just become a reoccurring thing for me now.
I respect that.
Should we talk about some songs that people should listen to if they don't really want to watch the musical?
By all means, go ahead for the moment and I'll pick some.
We do have a cast recording now, thankfully, of the London cast. From what I can tell, the majority of the vocals were ripped straight out of the proshot, and then additions were made in studio. It still sounds great. I love it. If you ask me what songs I should listen to, I'd say just suck it up and listen to the whole 1 hour and 44 minutes. But no, specifically, you should listen to Just Another Day, which is the opening number. It's phenomenal. The foreshadowing is brilliant. The way it introduces all of the four members of the family is great. It's so chaotic and hectic, and I love it a lot. You should also listen to I Miss the Mountains, which is one of Diana's big songs. Casey Levy is sublime. I will never be over seeing her do that live. You should also listen to Superboy and the Invisible Girl.
Amazing song.
Which is a Natalie solo at the beginning, and then it turns into a duet because Gabe takes over her song like he takes over pretty much everything else.
Can I jump in on that really quickly
so
I don't forget? Apparently, because obviously everyone has been hyper-analysing this musical, apparently Superboy and the Invisible Girl, both of them are singing at two different timings. So Jack Wolf is singing at a certain time, at one timing, and Eleanor Worthington Cox is singing at a quicker timing, so she's always trying to catch up to him. She's always having to rush what she's saying to catch up to the beat that he's placed, and I'm obsessed with that.
That's so cool. Right after that, just keep listening, because then you get to I'm Alive, which...
Wow.
I don't need to elaborate, just listen to it.
Just listen. Yeah, like that is.
And finally, so I'm not just giving you every single song, you should listen to Light, which is the final song of the show. It's really beautiful. It's a lovely closing number.
If you are okay, well, if you're okay with spoilers, you're listening to this, so you have to be. Please listen to Aftershocks. That is beautiful. Oh my god, it's so haunting. It's amazing. And
Yes.
also, more notably, I Am the One reprise.
Yes.
Oh, oh, just like it's been trending so much, and I keep every time I hear that song on my TikTok, I have to stop and listen to it. Outstanding song.
Now we've gotten all that out of the way, it's time for just my unabridged notes about this pro shot.
At the beginning of this recording, you said that people are kind of working out what they think Gabe is. Who do you think Gabe is? Do you think he's a ghost, manifestation of grief kind of thing?
Yes, I think Gabe is a manifestation of initially Diana's grief,
Mhm.
but I think as the show goes on, you start to realize that he's just a manifestation of all of their collective trauma and guilt and grief, and that is, I think that theory is really strongly confirmed by Dan acknowledging
Mhm.
Gabe at the very end of the show in I Am the One reprise.
Yeah,
Cause,
because his
cause,
grief is heightened by the fact that Diana's left him.
yeah, because he even says, "Why didn't you go with her?"
Yeah. Oh, that is like my favorite line.
And he didn't go with her because Dan spent 17 years taking care of Diana and trying to
Mhm.
hold her up and take care of Natalie as well and shield Natalie. And Gabe doesn't go with Diana because Dan needs to confront his grief for his son because he never has.
Yep. I love that.
And I love it so much. And also to to just go off a bit about I Am the One reprise.
Mhm.
There's also a portion in I Am the One reprise where so this song starts, so Diana's left and she's told Dan like I have to leave. I have to leave for both of us. And he starts the song by singing about Diana. Like he's singing I'm the one who loved you, I'm the one who stayed, I'm the one who you walked away. And then Gabe comes in and they're singing together. Dan turns around and he's acknowledging Gabe for the first time and they're sort of grabbing each other.
Yeah.
And they sing, I am the one who held you, I am the one who cried, I am the one who watched while you died. And
And they have two completely different meanings as well when they're both singing it.
yeah, that was my exact point. Because Dan obviously literally watched Gabe pass away as a baby, which is awful, but Gabe has been watching Dan sort of die on the inside
Mhm.
because of the grief, and is just beautiful. I love it.
That does kind of go on to my next question as well. Have you seen the I Am the One reprise Broadway version? Have you seen the clips of it?
I've seen a little comparison video between the two.
What do you think about the comparison between those two? Because personally, I think the passion in the Broadway version just isn't there compared to the West End. There's so much more like fear and determination in the West End version.
No, and this is what's so good about the pro shot is that you get the close-ups.
Mm.
The way Jack Wolf looks when he's singing that part at the end, his face is so scrunched up
Yep.
and he's crying, and it's I love it. But I agree. It feels so much more raw in the West End version in comparison.
It's heartbreaking because you just know that the cycle's going again and that it's you get to really see okay how much Dan is played by grief and how much Gabe is like able to now manipulate Dan, and you can see you've witnessed everything that's happened with Diana, and that's the same thing's about to happen with Dan, but he's now got no one to support him.
Straight after the song, Natalie comes back home from her dance and all the lights are off, and she comes in and she's like, "What the hell? Why are the lights off?"
Yeah.
And Dan just breaks down because Diana's gone and he doesn't know what to do. And like Natalie's gonna stay with him and support him and get him through it. And as
Yeah.
she's like before she goes to turn the lights on, and Gabe he chooses to walk away, and it's almost like he chooses to leave Dan alone
Mm.
for Natalie. And there's a moment in this production that wasn't in the Broadway version where he's walking off and he like puts his hand on Natalie's hand and she sort of looks over to him.
Yeah, she feels it.
I love that moment so much.
Does that not suggest that he is a little bit ghost-like then. If she's reacting because she doesn't have the grief for him, I guess, unless she's grieving the loss of her family at this point, and that's why she kind of slightly gets it. She's not grieving him specifically, but she's grieving that her mum's now left and her that she's gonna have to look after her dad.
I think so. So while I was talking about the benefits of the pro shot being that you get the close-ups, I would just like to talk about a few Jack Wolf moments
What a
specifically.
surprise! Who saw that coming, everyone?
Well done if you did. So my first one is during the song I've Been. So this is the song that Jamie Parker, Dan, sings right after we discover that Diana has attempted to take her own life, and he's gone back home after she's been admitted to hospital, and he's spoken to Dr. Madden, and he's cleaning up the blood basically with towels. Gabe comes on stage during the song, and as soon as he came on stage during the song, like my eyes were on him immediately. They have these harmonies that are just amazing, and they're sort of just riffing, so they're not singing words. It almost just sounds like they're wailing in pain.
Oh, I like that.
So I was watching Jack as soon as he came on stage during this song, but I didn't get I didn't get to see what his facial expressions were like up close, and you get that in the pro shot. And he looks so sad. He looks horrified, but in a way of, oh, this is what my presence is doing. It's like he's only now just realizing how he's maybe a bit of a malevolent force. And it's like in that moment he's realizing what it's not only doing to Diana, but what it's doing to Dan and Natalie as well. And there's also a moment in the song where they both get blood on their hands, and they're both looking at it, and just their expressions, and oh, it's amazing.
It's the attention to detail in this musical.
And there's also another little moment during Make Up Your Mind / Catch Me I'm Falling, where this is a song in the first act where Diana has. This is after she's thrown her pills away initially, and after we get the reveal that Gabe is dead, and Dan suggests, like, let's try another doctor. So she goes and she meets Dr. Madden, and they have a bunch of sessions, and he says, I want to try hypnosis. And she's really skeptical, and she sort of laughs. And at this moment in the blocking, Gabe is on the top level of the stage, and he laughs like at the same time.
I love that they're separated as well. I've heard that like as she begins to be more hypnotized, he starts to disappear.
And they're sort of in a spotlight, and he's sort of walking around the edge of it. And as she's more and more hypnotized, he just walks to stand right behind Dr. Madden, so he's like gone. It's such like simple blocking, but it's so clever.
I love the attention to detail in this musical.
So do I. Also, on attention to detail,
Mm-hmm.
there is a moment where I might be wrong about this or I might be right, and this is just before Diana sings I Miss the Mountains. There is a small flashback sequence where you see Diana and Dan having a conversation right after Diana's found out she's pregnant with Gabe. But one thing I only caught in the pro shot is for this flashback, she puts on a jacket, like a zip up hoodie, and I'm pretty sure that's the jacket Gabe wears throughout the show.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
And I like to think that's sort of why she sees him wearing that.
There's so many different hidden details that you and other fans have pointed out. How many of them do you actually think were intentional, and how many do you think are just ones that like? Do you think the director was like, "Oh my god, what a coincidence," but yeah, that works? Or do you think like this musical is seriously intended to be that intentionally subtle and smart with it?
Oh, I think it's probably all intentional.
That's mad because there's so many things.
There's a song towards the end of the show called Maybe. It is a duet between Diana and Natalie. It's really, really beautiful. It's one of my favourite songs in the show. This is after Diana has remembered Gabe, and she's gone back to Dr. Madden and said, like, I don't want to do more ECT. I don't want any more treatment for now. And Diana comes outside, and Natalie asks, what did the doctor say? And they just end up having a really heartfelt conversation. And Maybe is a song where Diana's singing about how similar they are, and she's basically apologizing because she's saying like I know I haven't. And there's a moment at the end where Natalie says, I don't believe you, and Diana says, 17 years ago your brother died of an intestinal obstruction. He was 8 months old. And when she says that, Gabe, through the whole song, he's leaning up against the counter again, sort of hugging his knees, and his head's down. And when she says your brother died, he's like in the background, and he looks up really, really slowly. And again, it's just like another really cool detail.
Shout out to the choreographer of this.
I love the choreography so much. There's a moment. There's a moment during the "Make Up Your Mind" / "Catch Me I'm Falling" reprise where Diana is standing on the kitchen counter and Gabe is sort of sitting on the kitchen counter and he starts to stand up at one point and they both sort of falling in opposite directions and they're holding on to each other. And I love that moment so much I have it tattooed on me.
He does. He does.
So shout out to the choreographer.
Yeah, like it's very rare that a choreography is so impactful that you get it tattooed onto you.
Do you have any more questions for me, Jess? Because I think that is all of my sporadic notes.
That's all of your sporadic notes. I do. I do have a couple of questions. Broadway Dan or West End Dan? Because I've seen a lot of people saying Broadway Dan.
Oh,
I know.
I I can't pick the Broadway cast over the West End cast. I just can't. I think Jamie Parker has so many small nuances to what he does. I just think it's phenomenal. And also I think it's difficult for me to straight up say like, oh yeah, I prefer this person over this person on Broadway because like it's clear like the West End version is perfect to me. And also I haven't seen all of I haven't seen or listened to the Broadway versions in as much of a capacity, so I don't really think it would be fair for me to
that's fair. That's fair.
compare them. But I like that question though.
Thank you. But my silly question is, does Next to Normal make you wish you had an island in your kitchen so that you can perform this? And if so, do you reckon your mum would finally snap if she walked in on you playing Gabe?
We have a little island.
Have you done a little I am the one reprise?
I have not, but maybe I will.
Maybe you should. See if your mum would finally be like, I'm done. If you did.
Yeah. Doug can be done.
Yeah.
For me.
Doug is Tyler's dog, by the way, if you didn't know already. My serious question, obviously as we've established previously, you have seen this on the final matinee. You've seen a slime tutorial. You've listened to the pro shot cast recording and you've seen the pro shot. How did the pro shot differ from you seeing it live? Like, did it fully transport you back, or did you just love the fact that you could see so many different nuances in the pro shot? Or did the live version just have a vibe that you just couldn't replicate? Or all of the above?
Probably technically all of the above. I don't think anything will quite ever transport me back to seeing it live. I was just so glad that I got the chance to watch it again.
It's the thing that I always like chatting about. You watch one thing in theatre. Like you said, there was times where you were just watching Jack, whereas now you get to see multiple different characters.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also what I've been saying quite a lot is having those close-ups. I think just heightened it even more.
Do you have any final closing statements you want to make about the pro shot?
No, just watch it.
Watch it. It is coming to cinemas soon-ish. So do check out.
Listen to the cast recording as well, because we've got that now.
Hopefully, when it comes onto streaming services, it will come onto a very well-known streaming service, of which our next musical is currently available on. On National Theatre at Home, the streaming service where you can watch various plays and musicals like Waitress, is a musical that has very recently been added called Wind in the Willows. If you don't know what Wind in the Willows is, it was originally a book written in 1908, written by Kenneth Grahame. The one I'm talking about is the 2016 West End version. It stars Denise Welch of Coronation Street fame as Mrs. Otter, stars Gary Wilmot as Badger, Simon Lipkin, as in Fagin from Oliver, as Ratty, Rufus Hound, comedian who you may have seen in CBBC if you are a similar age to me, as Mr. Toad, Neil McDermott as Chief Weasel, and Craig Mather as Mole. Basically, this came on to National Theatre at Home, and I was like, yeah, sure, I've got nothing to. I had an evening to myself, so I thought I'm gonna pay $9.99 a month, and I'm gonna go watch this because a musical for $9.99 is not bad. I've watched this 3 times now, and I'm obsessed with it. Absolutely obsessed with it. I love this musical. The fact that it had a limited run in 2016, but its closing night was brought a week earlier because of disappointing ticket sales. I don't understand that. I love this musical. For context, it is basically a story of Mole, a mole, that these are animals kind of thing, who leaves his underground home and meets Rat, a water vole, so a water rat, and his boat. They become friends and they meet Mrs. Otter, who is looking for her daughter. It's kind of a story of them meeting Mr. Toad, who is a friend of Rat, who is quite spontaneous and faddish. He likes speed. Speed is of the essence for Mr. Toad, and he then gets himself into various scrapes of which Mole, Badger, and Rat have to save him from. It's very fun. I'll be honest with you, this is a kids' musical, but that does not mean you are not going to absolutely adore it. It's one of those kind of musicals that's so unlike Next to Normal that it's almost whiplash of this episode. It's so cute. There's like no swearing in it. There's not really any like major violence going on. There's like your classic kind of villains. The foxes, weasels, and stoats are the villains from the Wild Woods. It's really, really funny. It's so feel good. It's the kind of musical that it just ends and you're like, I had a great time. One of those musicals you walk out of smiling your head off or turn the TV off in my instance. In terms of song, I would majorly suggest listening to Messing About in a Boat. That is the most chill song ever. It's really calm, it's really lovely, it's really happy, and there's some seriously good harmonies between Rat and Mole. I really, really like The Open Road. That's hilarious. Love that song. Very upbeat, very jovial. The Wild Wooders is like the villain song. That's such a fun villain song. 10 out of 10. The last one I would suggest is another villain song of We're Taking Over the Hall. This is what happens when, for reasons that I will explain later, the foxes, weasels... Oh no, it's just the weasels and stoats. I don't know what happened to the foxes, but the weasels and stoats are there. They take over Toad Hall, which is very similar to what happens in the film, and obviously it follows the plot of the books.
I do have a question. So, as you've just mentioned, the book and the film, how would you say the musical
In the
compares to them?
musical, they're not distinct animals. I'm going to put some pictures on our Instagram so you can see. But they use the costumes. It's one thing I want to get into, and a thing I've put in our pictures. The costumes are really clever. They're kind of humanized animals in a situation. So, like, for example, Rat is wearing a hat with rat ears on it, and he has a tail. A lot of them have tails, and like Mole has glasses on all the time because moles don't have very good vision. The weasels and stoats have very different dress like costumes, whereas in the books they obviously are very clear. The film that I watched was the 2006 one back in the day with Matt Lucas and Mark Gatiss in it, which is you know what, 10 out of 10 film. It is such a good film. Love it. You know what? They really do take some inspiration from it. They're really similar in their designs, and they project it very, very well onto stage. If you love the film or you love the book, you will love this musical. If you've not seen either, you'll still love this musical.
So, we have already established very quickly there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
animals. What are your favourite
Oh,
animals?
ooh. So obviously, Rat, because it's good old Fagin right now. But specifically, one thing that I really like about Rat is his costume and his personality. Simon Oakim manages to get really good personalities in his characters, and Rat's dressed like a sailor kind of situation, and he's just loving life. He's just really, really sweet. And what I really like is they don't hide any of the tattoos and stuff that these characters have, so he just looks like he's an established character, he's an established guy, and I really like how they do Rat. And he's a lot more he's had enough of Mr. Toad and all his antics, and I like how they do that. And also his stage presence is hilarious. There is another one that I really, really like. The rabbits and the squirrels. There's a point in which Mr. Toad buys a motor car. He sings a song called The Amazing Mr. Toad. Love that song. 10 out of 10. I've never heard somebody's final big note of the song be poop poop, which is obviously not poop in, the thing that you humans do, but the noise that a motor car makes when you honk the horn. As he's singing The Amazing Mr. Toad, the red squirrels, bushy tail and all, are building the car. Love them. They're having a wonderful time having a little boogie. I can't take my eyes off them, and also they look great. The rabbits. So you've obviously got quite a few different kind of rabbits in the world. There's so many different styles of rabbit in nature. All of these different rabbits in the show have different designs. So like, for example, the white rabbits are the waiting staff of Mr. Toad. And they're all in kind of your, like, if I told you Alice in Wonderland White Rabbit, that kind of attire. Then there's like more wild rabbits that are in like hunters. If I say hunter's tartan, does that make sense? Like the green tartan that you wear, like if you go into the countryside in the UK and you see horses outside the pub, the people in there, those kind of tartan. Their ears are made out of that tartan. They all have different sized ears and different designs. Every single rabbit has a different design, and I think it's incredibly clever. There's a song on here called The Hedgehog's Nightmare. It's a little family of hedgehogs with spikes on their backs, and they're so cleverly done, and it makes me incredibly happy because they just sing about how the road can be a nightmare for a hedgehog, and they're trying to cross the road and they end up giving up. And it's so cute, and I love how well their costumes are done because they have all these spikes around their backs and on their arms. And they all of the characters in Wind in the Willows have painted noses, and they just look really sweet. Apart from like Toad, who has a green moustache. On top of the costumes is the set. The set of this musical is so clever. It starts off, one of my favourite things about it as well is the fact that you go through an entire year in the musical. The first song of the musical is spring, and then there's a song for autumn, there's a song for summer, there's a song for spring, then there's first song is spring, the fourth song is summer, the ninth song is autumn, and the 16th song is winter. So you go through the whole design of it, and as you do, the scenes, the set changes, and there's like leaves that come down, and there's like autumnal leaves, and it gets chillier in the winter. The lighting is a lot colder. Like obviously the set for Toad Hall, there's big chandeliers, there's active cars that yes you can see their feet on the floor moving about. There's a caravan, a canary yellow caravan. I'm not joking, Toad flies at one point. At the end of the musical, the guy comes down flying. Brilliant, he does a flip. I was dying at that point. It's beautiful set. It kind of looks like a burrow in of itself in the stage, and you get to go inside of like Mole's house, which is kind of this really cute, cozy setting. Badger's house, which has got loads of books around it.
Yeah, I was going to say Badger's house, whatever his bookshelf setup is.
I know. It's so lovely. I think the set is beautiful. The costumes are stunning. What really sells this to me are the songs. This is the kind of musical. There are many musicals in its current state where you kind of skip about a couple of songs. This one, no, you'll love every song of these. I swear to you. Spring, such a cute opener. Messing About in a Boat, I love that song. If there is any song you would listen to, I know I've said a few, let it be Messing About in a Boat. I have that on repeat. And like, The Amazing Mr. Toad, Rufus Hound goes off on a rapping spree halfway through this. Lin-Manuel Miranda who, is all I say. Brilliant. The harmonies in Wild Wooders and Taken Over the Hall scratches my brain. The Wassailing Mice, so cute. Every single song in this is beautiful, and I love the whole thing. And the fact that none of them have got over 230,000 views is a travesty. I do have one point, and this is going to sound really odd, but it gives Wind in the Willows is the kind of thing that I would have done in school as a musical. It gives off school musical vibes. And it's really odd because in Wild Wooders specifically, there's a harmony in there, and they kind of do it like la 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 la. They do like that little bit, and they're harmonizing it. And I expect it to be out of harmony because I was expecting it to be like my school plays where no one can quite manage. But it threw me off regularly at how good the singers are because you expect it to be kids' school play quality. But it wasn't. It was fantastic, and it kind of threw me off a little bit.
If you were still in school, if you were still a child, if this musical was being put on, who would you be, or what would you do? How would you be
Okay,
involved?
I so I'm going to give you two answers for this. The first one is who I would
Okay.
audition for. The second one is who they'd actually give me because they wouldn't give me. Obviously, I'd want to play Rat. I think his character arc is really fun, and I want to sing messing about in a boat, and he's really cool, and he gets to juggle. And there's a point where they have a picnic, and he just starts lobbing food in the air, and Mole's catching it in a basket. Very clever. That's what I'd want to be. What I'd actually be is Portia, Mrs. Otter's daughter, who keeps getting lost and ends up getting kidnapped by the Wild Wooders and fattened up to eat.
Does that mean you would get to eat
Yeah,
snacks
she
on
literally,
stage?
instead of eating bugs, which they do talk about, she genuinely has a packet of like pick a mix and she's eating like gummy worms instead of actual worms. It's so
Oh,
lovely. I love it.
amazing.
She keeps getting told off about talking about eating food. And Mole, Tyler, you'd be Mole. Purely because A,
I was
Mole
looking
wears
at Mole and
glasses
thinking I
and
would be
and you
Mole.
wear glasses, and when the whole point of Mole is, and in any song they sing, so like the open road, they're enjoying it and everything, and the one thing that Mole is focusing on is the fact that he has a banquet. He's constantly on food all the time. His snack game is second to none.
Oh my
And
god,
when
amazing.
Portia's like trying to eat the gummy worm, he tries to eat it as well. He's trying to like get it out of her hand, and it's really sweet. Or you be one of the hedgehogs, or one of the little mice that sing the Wassailing Mice, because they're cute.
I'll be any of the small animals. So, from our Oliver review episode, we know that you are a big fan of
Yep,
Fagin.
yep. Don't make him put a. Yeah, go on. No, that's fine. Yeah, yes. I think he's very talented.
Having seen that performance and now having seen this Wind in the Willows performance, do you prefer one to the other, or are you just in awe of
Both,
Simon's range?
both. Like, I think it's hard because this was 2016. This was like
Mm,
9 years ago, and you.
yeah.
Sorry, Simon, but you can tell. Like, he does look younger in this than he did as Fagin, which is obviously, he's had makeup and stuff. Like, come on. But to answer the second part of your question first, because I like confusing people, his range is fantastic. It's really, really nice
Yeah.
to see him kind of play a very different role to Fagin. But at the same time, you can see it in both instances, the way that he commands the stage and the way that he kind of, in as Fagin, as you well know, Tyler, there's so many points in which he kind of like makes little comments on stage. Where
Yeah.
he'll like make fun of the audience, kind of thing. Where he said to us, our audience, oh, the poor people are in our seats. There was a point in Wind in the Willows where they're trying to catch, or they're trying to find Mr. Toad, who is on the run from the police because he stole a motorcar. And they all run out into the audience. Toad, Badger, and Rat run out into the audience with torches to try and find him. And you can hear in the audio that Rat has asked someone if they've seen Toad, and he just goes, "Well, you're not being very helpful, are you?" and carries on. And I was like, that's such a Fagin thing. And I don't think that is a Fagin thing. I think that's a Simon Lipkin thing. I
I
think that
see.
kind of that vibe is carried on throughout the whole thing. But you do get, this is more of a chill musical, but you still get that kind of hesitancy and the kind of grasp on the character that he has. I don't prefer either. I think they're both as good as each other. They're both really different. You can see his niche from watching both of those. I do have one bad thing about this musical. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for what this is because it's really fun. But I really don't like the message of this musical, and it really irritates me. The whole point of this musical, there is a song in there called A Friend is Still a Friend. It's sung by Badger. It's what he's telling Rat and Mole, who have gone to Badger to say, like, hey, Mr. Toad's gonna kill himself doing all of this because he keeps crashing his motor cars and he's just really irresponsible, blah blah blah. Badger basically explains that no matter what, a friend is still a friend. I don't know if I'm being a little bit mean or not, but I don't agree with that sentiment. Like, I don't think a friend is still a friend no matter what they do. That's not how that works. And they say to him, like, I get the whole point of they say like what is it? A point of view is aired, a joke or two is shared, you have to be prepared, a friend is still a friend. Your patience may be trialed, you take it in your stride and rally to their side, a friend is still a friend. Get it. Fair enough. You stand by your friends. But they end up talking about the guy's a fugitive at this point. Toad is a fugitive. Toad has stolen a car, lied about it, and then broken out of prison. Surely there's a line. And the whole point of this thing is that Toad has never learned a lesson in his life, and he doesn't learn a lesson by the end of this. They go through it all, and they have a really heartfelt moment where Rat's like, have you learned nothing from this adventure, Toad? And he hasn't. And they kind of just forgive him, because a friend is still a friend. I get it, but I think there's a line in which that we shouldn't necessarily be teaching children that no matter what people do, they're still friends.
This whole premise is reminding me of 13 because there is a song in 13 that sort of addresses exactly the issue that Jess is talking about called What It Means to Be a
Mm-hmm.
Friend. And that song is Patrice, poor Patrice, who Jess didn't know existed.
Sorry, Patrice.
She is acknowledging that, she's friends with Evan, but then also sort of holding him accountable for the things that he's done that aren't as good, and then saying, like, well, look, if you're going to act like this, you're not actually, like, a true
Exactly.
friend.
That's my problem with this musical is they do the whole thing and like Toad doesn't learn anything. And the whole point is that a friend is a friend no matter what they do. I I don't know about that. I don't think they are. I think if a friend like if depending on how old you are, we all have that. We have all been through that experience where a friend is no longer a friend because of something they've done. I don't think we should be teaching these poor kids through this musical that no matter what they do, even if they're a fugitive, on the surface level, they're saying like, "Hey, stand up for your friends, fight for them, you know, always like be there to support them if you can, but maybe don't help them escape prison." You know, let's not teach kids that.
Do you have any more notes or
My
closing
closing
thoughts?
thoughts for Wind in the Willows the musical is if you have £10 to spare, sign up for National Theatre at Home and watch this musical. It is so lovely. It really took me by surprise on how much I enjoyed this musical. Like I said, I've watched it 3 times. Absolute bops. And also Waitress is on there. So watch that as well. And that's 2 musicals for a tenner. Not bad. This has taught me to branch out of my musicals a little bit more because I wasn't expecting it and I loved it. Right, Tyler, it has been a while, I'll be honest. What are you holding space for this week, Tyler? I know we're doing kind of reviews this week, but we're in.
So this week, I'm holding space for a musical that I haven't seen yet, but I'm about to see, and I think I'm gonna fall in love with it a lot, and it may be my new hyperfixation. I'm holding space for the musical The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry that is currently playing at the Minerva Theatre in Chichester for a limited run. By the time this episode goes live, the run will have finished, but the audience and critical reception has been phenomenal from everything I've seen. So I'm really hoping it's going to get a transfer into a West End theatre.
I hope so.
So hopefully a lot more people can see it because the Minerva is a really small venue. If you're keeping an eye on musical theatre news, just keep your eyes peeled for Harold Fry because hopefully it gets a transfer, and I think it's a musical that a lot of people are going to really enjoy.
I think so too, and I'm very jealous.
And if you're wondering what exactly I think of it when I do see it, I will be going into detail about it in another one of these. What are you holding space
I am
for
holding
this
space
week?
for National Theatre at Home this week. If you're into musicals and you're into plays and you want to kind of branch out, National Theatre at Home is what you're looking for. It is the closest thing to a streaming service for plays and musicals that you can find. I'm talking, it's got obviously Wind in the Willows. You can watch Frankenstein with Benedict Cumberbatch, Angels in America with Andrew Garfield, Vanya, which I absolutely adored. I saw that in the cinema with Andrew Scott. Present Laughter with Andrew Scott. There's a theme here. I, you thought Tyler had a thing with Jack Wolf. I've got the equivalent with Andrew Scott. That man. Anyway, Waitress. Obviously, there's so many different things on here. There's so many different plays and musicals and stories. There's comedies. Ian McKellen's on it. Michael Sheen is on it. The Death of England. The Life of Pi has just been added to it. If there's one thing on there that you want to watch, pay $9.99 and binge as much as you can. And there's like audio description ones as well if you are hard of hearing or need any help. There's subtitled ones, there's behind the scenes. It's sick. It's a one-stop shop for people who want to kind of branch into plays as well as a couple of musicals. Next week, the reviews haven't even stopped, but this time, instead of reviewing a musical, we're reviewing an event. Bonus points if you know what event it is, but it's happening tomorrow. In the meantime,
Mess about
in a boat on the river.
And stand on your kitchen
And
counter.
stand on your kitchen counter. In a boat on the river. Bye.